Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic are two of the best players in the world. They both have incredible records and have achieved almost every people dream to achieve in the tennis world. Because of this, they also have become a target of countless of comparisons between them. Personally, I don't see the benefit of comparing their achievements. However, I do think we could learn and improve our game by comparing their tactics. Usually, we could approach this problem by evaluating a match between Federer and Djokovic and take a look at the tactics of that match. However, I think there is a better way of doing this comparison. What we will do is take a look at two matches at the same time. We will take a third player and see the tactics both Federer and Djokovic use against this player. In this case, this player will be tennis Shapovalov, and the two matches we will consider are the 2019 Miami semi-finals against Federer and the 2019 Paris final against Novak. Both of these matches had a similar score and both were played on hard courts, and those similarities should give us a good foundation to start our video. To start this comparison, I want to show you the following chart. This chart tells us how both Roger and Novak won points during these matches. In total, this chart separates the points into 7 categories. Each category represents the way the point ended. This first category represents the points won thanks to the serve. Second, we have the points the player won by serving and volleying. Next, we have the opponent's double faults. The fourth and fifth category are the exact opposite of the first two. They represent the points where the player made a big return of serve or won the point after the opponent tried to serve and volley. Finally, the last two categories are points won during rallies. The sixth category is unforced errors, and the seventh category gathers winners and forced errors. The first thing that might seem odd is the difference in percentages of points won because of the serve, and we will talk about that difference later on the video. However, this category is not the main topic of the video. In contrast, I believe the biggest benefit for us is to take a look at everything except for the serve categories. The way we can better see the differences and similarities between Roger and Novak is by taking a look at where they place the ball on the court during rallies. If you have seen previous videos of the channel, you already know that I like to separate the court into 12 zones. These numbers represent the percentages of Roger and Novak placing the ball at each zone. Let's start by first looking at the similarities between them. If we combine zones E and H, we can see that together these two zones represent almost 50% of their total placement. If you ask me to find a conclusion for these numbers, I would say that both of them focus on putting depth on their shots while also leaving a margin of safety by avoiding the zones close to the borders of the court. In terms of distribution, that's where the similarities end and the differences between Roger and Novak begin. You see, we can gather all the zones of the left side into one group and all the zones of the right side into another group. By doing this, we should get a good estimate of how often Roger and Novak try to aim Shapovalov's forehand and backhand. If we arrange the numbers this way, we get the following results. As we can see, Novak has an almost even distribution between aiming Shapovalov's forehand and backhand. As for Roger, we see how he preferred targeting Shapovalov's backhand 62% of the time. When I first saw these numbers, I was a little bit confused. At first sight, it seemed that Federer tried to aim Shapovalov's backhand more often than Novak, but I had my doubts about whether or not Shapovalov's own distribution had an influence on these numbers. In other words, I wanted to know if Shapovalov placing the ball somewhere on the court forced Novak and Roger to reply in a specific way. To answer this, I decided to compare Shapovalov's distribution between the left and right side for both matches. To my surprise, the results are exactly the same. For both matches, Shapovalov aimed Roger's and Novak's backhand 61% of the time, while the forehand was aimed 39%. And even more important, now that we have Shapovalov's distribution, we can separate Roger's and Novak's shots even more. You see, we can take each shot Federer and Djokovic hit from his forehand and backhand side and see a more specific distribution. From Federer's forehand side, He aimed Shapovalov's backhand 62% of the time, while he aimed the forehand 38% of the time. And once again, the backhand side has exactly the same numbers. As for Novak, his numbers are the following: 51-49 for the forehand side and 52-48 for the backhand side. Do these numbers look familiar? These numbers are very similar to the ones we saw at the beginning. With these numbers, we can be sure that both Roger and Novak decided to place the ball there, regardless of whether they had to hit a forehand or a backhand. In other words, Roger's and Novak's distribution was intentional. This wasn't a consequence of Shapovalov's own distribution. They both chose and execute those distributions on purpose. Unfortunately, there isn't a way to know why they chose these distributions. This comes from their own experience and style of play, and the only thing we can do is guess. My guess is that Novak focused his attention on forcing Shapovalov to run side to side, while Roger's game plan was more fixated on attacking Shapovalov's backhand to get the upper hand on the point. Now, let's go back to the first shot and explain this difference in points won because of the serve. The reason Novak's percentage in this category is more than double of Roger's is because Novak had a bigger first serve percentage. During the Paris final, Novak had 71% of first serves in, while Roger had 49% of first serves during the Miami semifinal. Both won a lot of points with their first serves, but Novak's bigger first serve percentage allowed him to win more points in this category. Having said all this, we have arrived to the end of this video. Now I would like to know your thoughts. Do you agree with this analysis? Do you have a different opinion? Please let me know in the comments section. I also wanted to let you know that I created a Facebook group for those of you that want to talk about strategies or share your experiences during your matches. If you want to join the group, I will leave a link on the video description below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon. My name is Jorge, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.